Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to a brand new reading vlog. Today I'm just doing a very general weekly reading vlog. I thought I'm kind of getting back into the swing of reading a little bit and I thought I'd like to vlog it. I'm not doing so well on my TBR for April. I mean, I've read a lot of books, but as you can see, these are all the ones that are left, plus all the ones I'm currently in the middle of. So it's not going well. I'm being distracted by my Kindle, which I just keep reading my Kindle books instead of my physical TBR, which is really not good. But I wanted to talk you through, I was thinking maybe that a vlog would inspire me, motivate me to actually pick up my physical TBR and, I mean, preferably finish it, but come on now, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm in the middle of quite a lot of books. I thought I would show you quickly through them right now. First of all, my main focus, especially of today, is Heartless Sky, Zodiac Academy Book 7. I am determined to get my way through this. I don't think I'm gonna, well, I didn't think I was gonna finish it this month, to be honest. I thought this was gonna be one that I took really slow. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of like, it would be really nice to get this chunk off my book, off my TBR, and I can move on to volume 8 next month. But at the same time, I have so many books left, I'm like, I'm not sure that's gonna happen. But yeah, I am page 216 into this one, and thriving. Now, the thing is, we're at a kind of stage with this book where everything is going a little too well. A little too well, and I know it's all about to come crumbling down, and I'm fearful. Every second I am fearful of this book. So yes, this is my current major focus and probably the one I'm going to pick up later on today, but just know I'm scared of it. Then we have a couple of books that I've kind of picked up and tried to read that I'm just, I don't know, just not vibing with. First of all, I am 50% of the way through Book of Night by Holly Black. I don't know exactly where I am because I actually am reading this on my Kindle because, I don't know, I just really didn't fancy reading this on hardback, I guess. But I can understand why this gets terrible ratings, and I wouldn't, a lot of people I hear say the writing's bad. I don't think the writing's bad at all. I think the writing is the same as The Cruel Prince. I really like it. The issue is the story has not kicked in at all yet. I am, as I said, like 55% of the way through, maybe even more. I might even be like 60 something now. Nothing has happened in this book. We've gotten a little tiny bit of backstory on each character, but not even enough. It's definitely feeling like a setup for a series, which I know this is a series, but I'm not, if you're not going to hook me in with the first book, am I that interested? I don't know. So this is kind of, I'm on the verge of a DNF. I really don't know. I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I'm such a lover of Holly Black. I mean, The Cruel Prince, I'm a lover. I'm a big lover. And I would really like for this to have been, well, I would really like for this to have been 5 stars, to be honest, and it's not hitting, so I don't know if I'm going to carry on with this or not, but I'm showing it to you because I am halfway through. I might choose to pick it up again in this video. Then I picked up, oh, this is a sad one. I picked up Godkiller. I am not far in. I am, let's have a look. 54 pages in, and I literally stopped mid-chapter because I was so bored. This is, so far, one of the most boring books I've ever read. Like, stuff's happening, but I do not care. Like, barely anything's happening. I think the writing is really throwing me off. Like, it's not very compelling writing. It's not very engaging writing. The story, there was a bit of backstory with a prologue to our main character, and yeah, that's interesting, but I don't know, there's just nothing compelling about this main character at all. There's just nothing compelling about the whole book. It is like the most bland piece of dry bread book I've ever read, and I'm just so confused because this cover is unreal. It is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. The premise sounds great, but if you saw the pain of me trying to get to just page 54, when literally that chapter ends on the next page, and I knew that, and I still couldn't get to the end. I was like, no, I'm just gonna put it down. I do want to try and get a bit further into it, but this is not what I wanted to experience with this book. So again, not going well for me. Then I picked up Half a Soul and I read to page 25. Again, I physically could not be bothered to just go, I think it's 2 pages. Oh no, to be fair, it's a few more. It was 3 pages. I couldn't be bothered to read 3 more pages to get to the end of the chapter. This, I think it could still be good. I don't think this is going to be a bad book. It's just the beginning is not very enticing. Like, it's not one of those books that instantly hooked me, but I'm not like against it at all. I'm not like, oh, I don't want to pick this back up. I do, I just haven't felt compelled to. I think it's going to get really good when we get into thing, because they've just moved to England. So they started the book in America, and I think that might have thrown me off a little bit because I was expecting Regency England. So I think it kind of threw me for a loop, but now that they finally got into England, I think that I could get really back into this. I kind of just wanted to finish off something that I was currently reading before getting into it, but I don't know. And then finally we have House on the Strand by Daphne du Maurier. I am meant to be buddy reading this with Jade, but I think we're both kind of sucking at that right now. But I am at page 100, and I did break up the pages to read them, you know, per day. I have not stuck to that at all, so it'd be good to get back onto that. But yeah, I got to page 100 exactly, and never picked it up again, even though I was so compelled by this book. This book was, yeah, this is so interesting. This is so intriguing. I haven't told you what any of these books are about, have I? Well, oh well, this one's following Dick, who is staying at his friend Professor Magnus, his house, and his friend has asked him to test this drug for him, and he ends up time traveling in a way to a past timeline that he's proven is true to himself. Like, he's factually found these people who he's seeing in his visions were real. And yeah, that's all I've kind of gotten to so far, but I'm so interested by this one. All of Daphne du Maurier's books have been like a bit hit or miss for me, but this one is definitely a hit so far. So there's absolutely no reason for me not to have picked this back up at all. Like, none. I'm really enjoying it. So, and not only that, I am in the middle of a bunch of books on my Kindle, but I'm not going to talk about them because I kind of just want to pretend I'm not. These are the currently readings. Oh my god, hang on. Yeah, these are the currently readings. Those are the ones I'm supposed to be finishing by the end of April. And it's like, what, the 24th? Maybe even the 25th, I can't remember. Not ideal. Not ideal, besties. Because this is progress. This is good. And the more progress I make on this, the better. I mean, I might feel like I'm not achieving very much, but there's so many words on each page that it's kind of like an achievement to have gotten this far. And yeah, I'm really excited to continue. I think this is going to be my priority of this reading vlog, but we will see. Who knows? My mood in reading right now is just everywhere and anywhere. I'll keep you updated on what I read and when I read it. Hello, I have a couple of updates for you. I'm sorry about the glare. I did have it as my background, but it kept glaring all over the screen for God knows what reason, so that's really annoying. I have two updates. First of all, I read quite a bit of Zodiac Academy. I read up to page 288, so that's good progress. Just a little bit of progress, but progress nonetheless, especially with how long it takes to read one page in this book. So I'm really, really happy with that. Really, really loving it, obviously. Then I decided to switch over to the audiobook of Godkiller in an attempt to try and move on a bit with it. I did end up finishing it. Obviously, a lot of people love this, so when I say my opinion here, just appreciate this, just my opinion. And obviously, a lot of people disagree with me because it's such a popular book right now. But this was a snooze fest. This was boring, this was unoriginal, this was just like every other fantasy on the market, and it was giving YA. Absolutely nothing original. There was no backstory to our characters. We had one prologue scene that gave a reason as to why our character killed gods. But not really. Not really. It was a little bit. But, like, I didn't feel her motivations in this book. It kind of was like she just gave up on them instantly and was like, oh, done now. There was never a moment of, like, internal struggle for our main character. Kesson? I just listened to the audiobook and I still can't remember how you pronounce her name. So that was no good. I didn't care about the other guy in here, Iso or something. Honestly, the whole thing just felt so trivial. This is an adult, I think it's an adult anyway, but it definitely didn't feel adult. It definitely felt YA. Maybe it is YA. I don't know, I should have checked. But I thought it was adult. Nothing. The most interesting part about this book is the cover. Nothing else is interesting inside of this book. Even like the concept of gods, you think, oh my god, that sounds really interesting. Like I want to know more about the gods. Oh my god, there's such a small part of this. If you want to read this, just read The Assassin Blades by Sarah J Maas, because it was the same thing with the taverns and the like adventure. The only thing you're lacking is the gods, and to be honest, there was not enough gods to read this book. It was rubbish, in my humble opinion, and the vibes were not there. Everyone keeps talking about the vibes. What vibes? There was very little descriptions. Well, there was descriptions, but everybody was saying how beautiful the descriptions of like forests were in this book, and I don't know if I was just missing them all the time, but I did not get that. I do love the way this cover is shimmering. It's the most gorgeous cover I've ever seen. Ugh, it breaks my heart that I didn't like this, but I really didn't. I couldn't understand the characters. I couldn't connect with the characters. I couldn't understand their motivations. I didn't have any intrigue. I didn't have any like investment in what happened to these characters. Like, even at the end, I was kind of like, okay, I don't care, when things were happening that were meant to be quite dramatic. Yeah, the whole thing felt shallow. And that's all I can say about that. And obviously I'm on my own in this little corner of the universe because everybody's obsessed with this. I just don't get it, and that's okay. It's just not for me, clearly. I've just read books exactly the same a million times now. I'm kind of just want something original, and I'm not getting it. I think that's the one good thing I would say about Book of Night by Holly Black. It does feel original. Like, even though I'm not loving this book at all by any means, I'm not liking it at all, it does feel original with the shadows and the shadow magic. It's giving original. This is giving read it 6,000 times. I gave this 2 stars, by the way, which is probably what I'll give this, but I just want to say the props to this book. It is original, and that's what I'm wanting now. I've read so many books in just the last couple of years that I've been tracking it on Goodreads, and I can give you a list of 20-30 books that are the exact same as that book. So maybe it's more of a problem with me, and if you don't read as much, you'll enjoy it, but I don't know. I guess I just feel like all the books I'm reading are just not doing it for me as much. But this is, just so you know, this series is everything. And if you're looking for a good fantasy series, this is the one. I'm not saying this is written perfectly. It's definitely not written that well. And considering they finished writing number 8 about a week before it was published, it does show the lack of editing, and you can just tell there's a severe lack of editing. It doesn't personally impact me. I swear there's like crack in between the pages as you're reading. You're just inhaling drugs. But it is so good. But yeah, that's my update. Very disappointing. But at least I'm done. At least I actually read it. I'm disappointed, but I've read it, so it's okay. And I'm gonna go now and continue reading my fave. Hello. I have an update for reading, which... Can you see my dirty laundry? Yeah, sorry, I just took a bath. I started reading a book before I streamed today, and I was like, oh, I just need something to like read before I get in this bath. Sorry about the terrible lighting. Maybe if you move you a bit. It's not giving, is it? I don't know. Let's just carry on. It's only a short update anyway. I started a book and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to read a little bit of the book. Like, I'm probably not going to get that far into it. But I started reading Twisted Games by Anna Huang, because I went out and bought this the day after I finished Twisted Love, and I was like, oh, need it right now. I went to like 3 different works searching for it. Finally found it. Then it took me like 6 months to read it. 4 months? Either way, it wasn't good that it took me this long. But I was really happy to pick it up today. And then I just got in the bath and I just sped through and read it all, so I'm really pleased. This book follows Bridget, who was in the first book as one of the friends to, I think her name was Ava, and she's a princess to the country of something. Can't remember the country, but something with an E. And she was like not in line for the throne or anything, but then out of nowhere her brother abdicates the throne, and so she is now in line to be the queen, and so she has to like up her game. She can no longer, you know, all this thing, blah blah blah. Reese is her bodyguard, and he's like strict. I don't mess around with my people, like the people I'm bodyguarding. Does that stick around? No, it does not. They then end up like in like this, it starts hate to love, but barely. My hate to love, I want you to like hate each other, you know, like in Zodiac Academy, pushing each other in pools, trying to kill each other kind of hate. This is more just, they didn't really tolerate each other very much, but they got on with it. And so kind of like dislike to love. And then he's a very dry, sarcastic person. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It's probably more like 3.75. That's what I'm going to put in my spreadsheet chart. But for the sake of Goodreads, 4. I didn't love it as much as the first one. I feel like they had a lot of chemistry, but I just wanted a bit more backstory on each character. I'm not saying they didn't have any, they did. But I just, you know, you just don't connect to certain characters. That was kind of me in this book. But it was really fun to read, very interesting. I did have a good time. It was enjoyable, that's for sure, and easily digestible. I mean, it's 450 pages, but it definitely didn't take me very long. I think in total it took me 2.5 hours, so that's pretty good. I'm excited to continue with the series, although I don't feel that urgency that I felt after the first one. So that's probably a good thing, because I've got enough, you know, romances on my TBR. But I am really glad that I finally picked this up and read it. It was good. It was enjoyable. Yeah. Is that all I was going to say about it? Pretty much. I feel like I had more to say. Like, that just really didn't give a lot. Anyway, I haven't read anything else. I didn't make any progress on Zodiac, and it's now 10:30 at night, so I probably won't be making any progress on Zodiac or anything else. But yeah, I did read a whole book today that wasn't even in my current reading, but it was on my TBR, so I am 1 book down on my TBR, which thank God, because we are running out of time. What is it today? The 25th, I think. 24th, 25th, I don't know. We've only got like 5 days left, so 4 if we don't count today, which we finished pretty much. So I don't know how I'm gonna read like 9 books. Let's find out. I thought I would really quickly do an update, because I have a reading update for you for Half a Soul. Excuse my camera. I just started the audiobook because it finally became available on Scribd today. And I thought maybe that would help me with my reading, because I wasn't loving it physically. Absolutely yes. It's such a good audiobook. I really like it. And usually women putting on like a man's voice, like, really winds me up. Either hire a man to do the man's part, or just talk normal. Just, it doesn't matter to me that a man has a woman's voice. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. It bothers me a lot less than someone going, but in this book, it's fine. Like, I really like it. I think she does it really well, and it's not overdone. We just met the love interest, well, who I think is the love interest, because I haven't read the blurb, and I think it's Circe, I don't know. I can't remember his name. Lord Circe. You think, having listened to the audiobook, I'd know the name, but I never know names. I'm really bad with them. All I know is our main character's name is Dora. But they've just met, and I love Dora, because obviously she's got like half a soul. That's what she's cursed with. So she has half the emotion. Like, she doesn't feel like anger, but she can feel like being vexed by someone. Like, she can feel like dread, but she can't feel sad or worry or anything like that. So she only feels like bad emotions. And so this man is like the world's most annoying man. Everybody hates him. He's mean to everyone, but he's like, there's no point in being mean to you because you don't feel it anyway. And she's just so sarcastic. She's a brilliant main character. He is really appealing to me so far. We've only just met him. But yeah, I'm on chapter 6. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. So I thought I'd just update you on that. And I'm going to carry on listening to the audio throughout the day as I have chance to. But yeah, there's my update for that. Definitely recommend the audiobook if you're going to read it. Hello. Let's turn you down a bit. Please excuse my hair. I've obviously had a shower. But I need to talk to you about this book. All I can say, right, is sometimes people say to me, why don't I give like books 5 stars a lot, and like why Why am I so harsh with my rating system? But because then there's books like these, which make me feel the way that this book does. And then it's like, I can't give something that doesn't make me feel this way a 5 stars. I love this. 5 stars, obviously. I can see why it won't be to everybody's tastes. And I'm really surprised it was as to my tastes as it was, but oh my god. I was freaking out listening to this. I was freaking out so much. Like, every time Elias was on screen, I was like, ah, I love him so much. He was so cute. He was a great love interest. I do like a broody man. And that's what you get. It wasn't too focused on like the Regency period, but it did have like the balls and like the typical, you can't, like, you have to have a chaperone and stuff, and I really enjoyed that atmosphere. Dora was a brilliant main character to read about. I really liked her attitudes, I liked her personality. She was really fun, she was witty, she was sarcastic. Brilliant read. I definitely recommend the audiobook. I really like the audiobook. I think I already talked about it a bit, so I won't say much more. But yeah, I'm going to continue the series on audio because I definitely think that was the better way for me to read it. But this was so good. So good! I love all the side characters, so I don't know if the next 2 books follow side characters. I kind of hope so because I really fell in love with them. I really like the plot. I was reading some reviews after I finished, and a lot of people were saying that the plot wasn't very well done, but they understand that it was meant to be romance. Are you joking? The plot was so good. Like, if there's a plot around following like a sleeping curse, I thought that was really well done, especially considering the book is not a fantasy mystery, it's a fantasy romance. Not even a fantasy romance, just more of a magical romance. And like the inclusion of the Fey world, it was just so good. The whole thing was so good. Can you tell I enjoyed this? But yeah, it's so rare for me to love a book so much, so I'm just really glad that I had that with this book. And I was so glad I was vlogging at the time because it seems like I always miss my 5 stars when I vlog, so yeah, I'm very happy. Yeah, this is a really nice book. Anyway, I have nothing more to say. Like, I've pretty much said everything I want to say, but yeah, if you have not read this book yet and you think it could be your kind of thing, I would pick it up. It's not like, I don't know, it's just good. It's good. I'm glad I read it, and I'm really excited to continue with the next 2 in the series at some point. But I'm really glad I spoke to you about this. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I'm going to obviously carry on with Zodiac, but it is the 28th, meaning I'm not going to be able to finish those all in 2 days. There's like 6 books left, and I'm halfway through Book of Night and Zodiac Academy, so technically like 8 books left. So that's not going to happen. So I might just see which ones I can prioritize over the next day, because I'm like at my mum's all day tomorrow, visiting my siblings. So it's not even like I have tomorrow. I only have Sunday. So we'll see. Hello, it is Sunday and it's the 30th of April, so the last day of April and the last day of this vlog. So I'm hoping today to try and finish up some of the books in my currently reading, because I have like 7. So I'd like to get through, well, in an ideal world, I'd get through about 4. But I don't think it's going to be more like 2. But, you know, anything is a good start. So today I picked up The House on the Strand, and so far I've gotten to page 190, which is 90 pages on from where I was, because I started today on page 100. It took me a while to get back into, because obviously I picked this up like the 1st of the month, so it's been a month since I read it. And it definitely took a while to get into, but now that I'm in it, I'm really excited to finish it, and I'm definitely going to be finishing it today. Very intrigued, very happy. I feel like the problem is I was really interested in the past timeline at the beginning, and now today I've lost interest with the past timeline. I don't really care about the current timeline, but I think that's because at the beginning there was a lot of setup for the past timeline, whereas now that we've set that up, there's more setup for our current timeline, so I'm just more invested in it and what's happening to our protagonist. Dick's family have finally just come to the house to stay at, so it's created more of like a sneaking around kind of situation, because he has to like hide from his family what he's doing and the repercussions of what he's doing. I don't know if I ever talked about what this book was about. If I didn't, I'll tell you now, and if I did, I'll just edit this out. But Dick is staying at his friend Magnus's house, and Magnus is a scientist testing out a drug that can take you back in time. So Dick is taking this drug, and it is taking him back in time to 600 years ago, I think it was. And he's kind of following the lives of these people, but the more he does it, the more he becomes addicted, and the two timelines are merging, and he's getting very confused on what is real and what is not. Even though both timelines are real, just obviously one's in the past, one's in the present. And so you're kind of seeing like a mystery of what is happening in the past timeline, because it's like a dark story. And then the current timeline, you're seeing him and his family kind of falling apart as a repercussion of his actions. It's so interesting, and Daphne du Maurier has some of the best writing out there, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm really, really loving this. As I said, I'm on page 190, so I have 140 pages left, so should be quite easy to get through. As it's a classic, it does take me a little longer than, you know, normal. Like, obviously I'd read this in about an hour and a half normally. It's probably gonna take me more like two and a half, but that's fine because I'm really, really enjoying it. I love Daphne's writing. I want to read more of it and I want to savor it. But yeah, I love this cover. Random side note. But yeah, once I've read that, I would like to carry on my read of To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I picked this up the other day. I am literally 24 pages in, and it was the most difficult thing I've ever read. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't know what happened. But then I went and read a review on Goodreads, and they were saying that they actually said the first 25 pages you could be sat there like, what the hell is going on? But don't be tempted to put it down. Just push on through and try not to focus too much on the fact you won't know what's happening. So as I'm on page 24, I was like, oh, okay. So I'm hoping to try and continue with that today. It looks really short, but it is a 200-page book. I mean, that is short, but it's not as short as it seems. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that as well today. And yeah, we'll just go from there. But those are my plans currently. I finished House on the Strand. I have so many thoughts on this. I tried to write a review on Goodreads, so I will link that down below, or if it's not linked down below, my Goodreads is always there. For you to go and check it out if you want to. I ended up giving it 5 stars, which I surprised myself with because I don't think I was loving it as much as a 5-star read. Like, I didn't feel 5-star all the way through. And then when I went to rate it, I was literally about to click the 4 stars. And I was like, that doesn't feel right. And if you rate books the way I rate books, you'll understand. Like, a lot of people do like core pile and stuff. Mine is a feeling, a pure feeling. I know what rating a book is when I finish it usually. So when I don't, it's a bit odd. So I just knew that it wasn't a 4 star. So I was having like a good think about it. And I've given it a 5 because I just felt that this was, from what I've read of Daphne du Maurier so far, I can't say everything because I've not read all of her books, but Rebecca still stands as my favourite book of Daphne's and one of my favourite book of all time. But this one, I think, from what I've read from her so far, is her cleverest book. I think this is just such an intellectual book that she wrote so well and really thought out. Like, I don't want to sound like an English teacher being like, oh, the curtains are blue because he's sad. Like, I don't want to sound like that, right? But I feel like she made me addicted to this book the same way that Dick is addicted to the past. I felt the same way. Like, she kept the past so short and brief that I always felt I wanted more. And even by the end, the story of the past was so insignificant and brief that I again felt like I needed to get more, just like Dick did. Addicted. Get it? Addicted. And the ending, I won't say spoilers, because I don't want to like tell you how the end, but the end is very open and ambiguous. And I like that because again, it left me feeling unsatisfied. Like, I felt very dissatisfied by the end. And I don't like open endings, and I don't like, you know, vague endings. But I felt like it was so perfect because it was the same way that Dick was left really unsatisfied. Unsatisfied or dissatisfied? Dissatisfied. He probably felt the same way by the end, and also you have to interpret what the last line means, which Daphne du Maurier just has the most iconic last lines in all of her books, and this one was no different. And last line, I was like, and if you've read it, the ending is either meaning it in fantastical terms or biographical terms. Is that what it means? Biographical? I think so. Terms. If you've read this, I'm taking it as biographical. I think it was like real world medical. But what did you take it as if you've read this? And if you haven't, I 100% encourage this, because I'm not going to say it was a good, like, I didn't enjoy myself reading it. Like, a lot of the time I just felt frustrated and upset with Dick, and I felt his emotions, and understood his problems, and even though I didn't want any more harm to come to him, I still wanted him to take more of the drug. So yeah, I felt really connected. And also his wife in this, Viv, I think her name was, or Vita, sorry. I felt like, factually, I felt so sorry for her having to deal with Dick as her husband. And I was like, she stuck by him so well, and like, props to her. She's obviously a good person. But at the same time, I felt Dick's frustrations to her throughout, and like how frustrating it was when she was around and he was trying to escape for another fix of his drug. Oh, the whole thing was just so well written, and you felt really like attached to Dick as a character, and you felt everything he felt. It felt so submersive. And yeah, I would encourage you to read this in one sitting if you can. Obviously, I read the first 100 pages, then didn't pick it up for a month, but then the rest of it I read in one sitting, and I definitely think I would have gotten so much out of it if I just read it all in one day. So if you are capable of reading a book in one sitting, I know a lot of people can't, I would encourage you to do so with this one. The writing is always so accessible with Daphne du Maurier. I don't feel she writes like other classics. For example, as I said earlier to The Lighthouse, I'm really struggling with the writing. It's giving classic writing, it's giving pretentious, probably because it was written so much earlier. I mean, most classics are. In the grand scheme of things, I think Daphne du Maurier is quite a modern writer, because this is 1927 and this would be in the 60s? Let's have a look. Yeah, 69. So obviously there's a big time difference between them. So I always feel like Daphne du Maurier's writing is always so much more accessible if you're interested in classics. And this one I would highly encourage, especially, you know, if you like Daphne's other works, because obviously it's very reminiscent of those, but this is definitely her cleverest one so far. Anyway, now I decided to pick up, I was going to pick up this, but I feel like I just needed a break, and I'm kind of having like a book hangover from this, so I didn't want something so deep to understand. So I just picked up Seventh Circle by Tate James, which I started at the beginning of the month. Actually, no, that's a lie. I picked up Book of Night. I read 3% because I was already halfway through, and I have decided to officially DNF it. I couldn't tell you the synopsis of that book, and we're halfway through. I know what's happened, like stuff has happened, I can tell you everything that's happened so far, but it's not a lot. So I kind of just feel like it's got first book syndrome. I'm not interested, I'm done. So I'm going to DNF that one, unfortunately. But then I decided to pick up Seventh Circle because I wasn't sure if I was going to carry on with this or not. I wouldn't even consider it a DNF. I just picked it up a few times and was like, I'm just not convinced, and I kept putting it down. So I was like, today I'm going to make up my mind. I'm 80% of the way through this now, and I'm about to go finish it. It'll take me 20 minutes probably to finish. So good so far. Like, I'm actually really enjoying it a lot more than I was. It's probably like 3-star middle of the road. But I would say Madison Kate so far was a lot more enjoyable because that was reverse harem. This is more like a, she has 3 love interests who have nothing to do with each other, but also nothing's really progressing with them, and I don't know a lot about them. There's not a lot of character development or anything like that. It's just really easy gangster romance, and that's all I'm really getting out of it so far. Maybe it'll be more in the second book, which I do plan on continuing into, but yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it, and it's definitely helping me get over the book hangover that was House on the Strand. So I'll let you know how I go about finishing this today. Okay, look, I need to talk to you. First of all, I finished Seventh Circle. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, as I said it probably would be. It was very enjoyable, very fun for what it is. I will be continuing the series. I have no thoughts about this at all. It was just a fun read. I have nothing to say. If you like the Madison Kate series, which comes before this, you'll like this one. If you haven't read the Madison Kate series, you should read that first anyway, so check it out. I'm trying, guys, to read To the Lighthouse. I'm trying so hard. Nothing makes sense. Now, you can call me dumb if you want, but I've read many classics in my days. Not enough to say I'm well versed, but classics tend to make sense. Yeah, there are some words that obviously I'm not aware of because I don't speak old-time English, but I would like to read to you a part of this book. Now, if you do not believe me, because Liam just accused me of making it up before I showed him the page, feel free to reference your own text if you own this book. Page 29. Bear with me while I read this to you. For a start, I'm really bad at reading out loud, but I need to. I need someone to tell me, am I dumb? Or does this not make any sense? Okay? Not for the world would she have spoken to him, realizing from the familiar signs his eyes averted and some curious gathering of his person, as if he wrapped himself about and needed privacy in which to regain his equilibrium, that he was outraged and anguished. For a start, that is one long sentence. It's 6 lines long. No one needed that. Anyway, carrying on. She stroked James's head. She transferred to him what she felt for her husband, and as she watched him chalk yellow the white dress shirt of a gentleman in the Army and Navy Stores catalogue, thought what a delight it would be to her should he turn out a great artist, and why should he not? He had a splendid forehead. Then, looking up as her husband passed her once more, she was relieved to find that the ruin was veiled, domesticity triumphed, and custom crooned its soothing rhythm, so that when, stopping deliberately as his turn came around, at the window he bent quizzically and whimsically to tickle James's calf with a sprig of something. She twitted him for having dispatched the poor young man Charles Tainsley. Tainsley had to go write his dissertation, he said. So 1 minute we're doing God knows what. I actually can't work it out. Next thing you know, she's holding a child and a catalogue. I've had to read this like 6 times to make any sense of it. Then her husband walks past, and now some man is writing a dissertation. What does the man got to do with it? What's the dissertation got to do with it? I am so very confused. And then I was like, a couple of pages, I was like, all right, carrying on. It gets worse. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. It does not make any sense. Like, classics are written old-timey, yes. Sometimes they're not that easy to read. I have tried so hard to understand this. I don't think it's English. I don't think this is English. I'm baffled. Now, if you are like a big Virginia Woolf fan or a big classics fan, please don't come at me being like, oh, you just don't understand because you're dumb. Okay, fair enough, but like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So like, this is my channel. That is how I feel. I'm gonna read a few more pages, but that is what the whole experience has been for me. What are they saying? Now, I know in the reviews I said people were saying if you don't understand what's going on, like, leave it alone, that's fine. But there's a difference between not understanding what's going on and physically not understanding every sentence that is said. Also, every sentence is so long. So long. Like, these sentences should be broken up to like 4 or 5 sentences. They do not need to be one. It's, dare I say, poor writing, in my opinion. But it is Virginia Woolf, so what do I know? I mean, she's one of the best writers of our time, apparently. So, of her time, I suppose. She's not in our time. This was almost 100 years ago. But it's not looking good. So, I'm definitely not going to be finishing this tonight. I'm just looking at all the other Virginia Woolfs I own and thinking, I don't want to read them. This one I definitely don't want to read. I don't think I'll haul it. I think if I do decide to put it down, I will read Mrs. Dalloway, and then if I get on with that, I will pick this back up and try again. If I don't get on with that, I'll just realise that me and Virginia Woolf we ain't bonding, or we ain't doing so hot, and I'll just toss them both, you know? But that's my opinion on that. So yeah, I tried. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up the vlog here because it is Sunday night. It's like midnight now, and I've been trying to finish my TBR, so technically it's now about to turn May anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this vlog, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!